Hello, and welcome to day 11 of the 12 Days of Chocolatey. I'm your host, Adil Lagari, and at Chocolatey, we are the Windows automation experts. And just a heads up, if you've been living under a rock for the last 11 days, the 12 Days of Chocolatey is a 12-day event that we put on here at the Chocolatey software team, where for an hour every day, we regale you with some of the chocolatey goodness. And that includes talks, webinars, Q&A, discussions, and especially for today, new feature announcements, etc. So fun new things coming. And most importantly, if you pay attention, the opportunity to win a prize every day. So feel free to go to our YouTube and Twitch channels or join us live to watch some of these other sessions. You can always, this is the last of the two sessions, but all of our stuff is uploaded to YouTube and Twitch, so you can feel free to check it out and go back. Yeah, you haven't missed anything. You can always go back and check those out. In addition, today, for day 11, we are going to be entering the Mad Scientist Lab of Steven Valdinger, aka Stevie Coaster, for our research and development show and tell day. And to help frame today's discussion, I'm pleased, nay honored, to be joined by our founder and CEO, Rob Reynolds. Take it away, Rob.
All right. Good morning. Good afternoon. Good evening, depending on where in the world you are tuning in from. I am Rob. I'm also joined today. We already mentioned Stevie's going to be here, and we're just going to kind of step in and take a look at some stuff. Let's take a look at that next slide. As we mentioned, show and tell. We'll be showing some stuff off, and and then we'll kind of step into a Q&A. So if you see some interesting things and you want to talk about that, we're trying to be as interactive as we can today. So definitely jump over and throw those questions into the chat. All right, next slide, please. Just a note, our lawyers may just do this, is that we throw this giant disclaimer up that, of course, we are showing you some stuff that is really early or we're thinking about. I'll tell you that we come up with a lot of ideas, and sometimes we spike those ideas, and not every idea turns out to be a good idea. But those ideas come from internal. We have some really good feature requests from customers and other things, and we're hearing those, right? You may think that we don't actually hear what you're asking for, or we're not doing anything about it, but we are looking at the stuff, and we are kind of building a little spike somewhere here and there and kind of playing with those things. And we're going to get to take a look at a couple of those spikes today. And so we're really excited for this show and tell. Now, I will say what you're seeing here is very, some of it might be really, really rough around the edges. So have a bit of an imagination. Because the finished product that would come later would be much more polished and supportable. But what we're going to take a look at today is just a view into some of those things that we've spiked and are looking for further explanation. Now, I will tell you, in the survey today, we'll be asking you to rate some of these to let us know how you feel, if it provides value or something else. And so with that and with those thoughts, Stevie and I are going to kick off, and I'm going to let Stevie go ahead.
Awesome. Thank you very much. I'm going to go ahead and share my screen, and we'll kick off with the first of, I believe, 4 demos for what we're going to be talking about. So just to frame this a little bit, we've had some requests come in from customers, either to directly do something related to a software approval workflow, or asking how can they build this out themselves internally. What's a good way when a user needs a new piece of software that currently doesn't exist in your Chocolatey infrastructure? What's a good way to quickly get that into your end user's hands from the time they request it to when it's available? So I've taken the liberty of using PowerShell Universal, and I'm going to log into it here real quick. And I've created a couple of things inside of PowerShell Universal that facilitate this. So I've got a couple of APIs that are created. I've got a builder API and approval API that the dashboards that I have created. I've created 2 of those. They actually do all the work by posting information to those APIs, and that gets passed back to Chocolatey, and it does the work, and some other cool things happen. So the first thing that we're going to take a look at is, I need to refresh these pages real quick, is simulating a end user requesting a new piece of software. So I'm going to go ahead and click on this upload button. And I've got a couple of downloads already created here. I'm going to select this Notepad++ application, and I'm going to upload that. And in just a couple of seconds here, let me unlock my phone so that it shows off what's going to happen. Once Chocolatey, so Chocolatey is currently processing this request in the background, and I just got a push notification to my phone that this application has just been received. I need to go in and I need to approve this application request. That's awesome. How do I go ahead and do that? The package approval screen, which obviously is pretty bare bones, but it has a couple of different buttons on it. If I go in here and click approve, in the background, a couple of different things are happening. So one, I've sent a toast notification to the end user that requested this application. In this scenario, it's just running to the local user that's currently logged in to this machine. But the sky's the limit here. You can invoke command and send this toast notification across the network to whoever requested it if you pick up some more information, whatever. But this just lets them know that that application is now available for installation. They can launch Chocolatey GUI to see it. And if we go over to our Nexus repository and we go into our Choco repo, you can now see that that Notepad++ package has been made available.
Awesome. So tell us a little bit more about PowerShell Universal.
So PowerShell Universal is an amazing platform, I have to say. It's really quick to create REST APIs. So you can come in here and say, here's an endpoint. Let's create a new endpoint, and we can just call this endpoint 12 days. Actually, it needs to have no spaces, and it has to start with a slash. And then you can select what kind of method that API runs against. So if you want to like just send information back to a user via a GET request, you can make it a GET method. If you want to send data to it, you can do a POST method. And then you can also assign it different kind of roles within Universal as well. So
yeah, when we're creating that, what are we writing here?
So this is just pure PowerShell. So, and I was going to show off the API endpoints and all this stuff. Perfect. So there is a PowerShell Universal VS Code extension, which once you install it and load it, connects to your running PowerShell Universal instance and brings in all of your APIs and dashboards that you have configured. And then if you come in here and like select this builder API, for example, and click this open endpoints button, you can see that on the back end, you're just writing PowerShell code. So you're defining your endpoint and then you're telling it what to do inside of here. And then it goes out and it does all the work. And endpoints.ps1 is a single file where all of your endpoints that you define show up. So yeah, it's a single file. You edit it. You can add your endpoints in here, and they'll all show up. And then the same thing with your dashboard files. It's nothing but a. Let me open this one because there's a little bit more to it. There it goes. I have to click the right button. But yeah, you just define your dashboard as PowerShell. There's a ton of different PowerShell commandlets in the Universal module that allow you to do things like buttons and file uploads and maps and charts and graphs. And it's really, really, really feature rich. You can also extend it with your own components as well. They're just any React.js component will work. You just have to wrap it in some PowerShell to make it show up on PowerShell Universal and be able to be consumed.
Cool.
Yeah,
PowerShell Universal. That's not actually something that comes from Chocolatey software, though. That's Adam Driscoll. Yes.
Our software, Adam Driscoll, is the guy that runs that. Yep.
Big shout out.
I have to interject to say Adam is awesome. I love Adam's stuff. Adam, if you can see us right now, you're amazing. Thanks for PowerShell Universal.
Adam is really good people, and Universal Dashboard is a really good product. And also PowerShell Universal also has an automation platform built inside it as well. So you can define scripts and run them as jobs and schedules and triggers and all that good stuff. So if, for example, you didn't want to use Jenkins to internalize your Chocolatey packages on a schedule or whatever, if you already had PowerShell Universal, you're using it for the dashboards and API piece, and you're already doing some automation, you absolutely could do the package internalization stuff inside of PowerShell Universal as well. Yeah, it's
cool.
Super cool stuff.
Cool. So that's a package request approval workflow that is written almost entirely in PowerShell that somebody could pick up. And of course, then there's some toast notifications as well, which is really cool. Yeah, I definitely like it. I wonder, folks in chat, are you guys enjoying this? Is this something that you like?
Yeah, definitely let us know in the survey that you receive at the end of the broadcast, whether you want to see this fleshed out and made into an actual thing that we ship, or even if you would like more information that we could put together, like a video series and maybe some blog posts or something like that we could help you, give you some resources and some code to build this out in your own environments separately. We could possibly look at doing something like that as well. So just let us know. All right. So the next thing that I would like to show off is something that I put into central management. So central management is our newest product in the Chocolatey lineup, allowing you to see what software you have installed across all of your endpoints that are running Chocolatey with the Chocolatey agent configured. If we take a look inside of central management,
and this is going to be a little different than what we've seen before, because we've seen central management on different days. There's a couple of spiked things in here.
Yeah. So this is a new version of central management that I've built out and I've tinkered with, and I've added some things to. So package building is relatively easy now, right? You take your installer, your MSI, your EXE, you've got Chocolatey extension installed on your workstation. You right click on that file and you say create Chocolatey package, and a couple of seconds later you get a Chocolatey package out of it. That's really cool. That consumes a license on your machine for the Chocolatey bits. That means that your machine is the one where you can build packages, etc. You might have a team of people that you want to enable to build Chocolatey packages, for example. So by spiking it into central management, we're able to add a new permission set into central management so that when a user inside of central management has the permission to see and use this tab, this will show up for them, enabling you to give this functionality to maybe another member of your team that has Chocolatey for Business installed, the agent installed, it's checking into CCM, it's doing the deployments and everything, but it's got a limited feature set in terms of the extension. So they don't have the ability to quickly right click on those packages and create Chocolatey or right click on those installers rather and create Chocolatey packages out of those. You haven't given them the ability to do that, and you don't want to modify their system to give them the ability to do that when they could just log into central management, grab an installer, drop it onto here and click upload. And in just a couple of seconds in the background, we're uploading this into central management. Central management is processing it. And here in just a second, you'll see this page refresh again. And we've got Notepad++ available as a Chocolatey package now. And same thing, if you wanted to do 7-zip, you could come over here, drop 7-zip into this little drop zone and click upload. And in just a couple of seconds, again, CCM's processing it on the background. And now we have both of these packages available, and then you can download them. And once they're downloaded, they're processed and they're removed to save on disk space, at least at the minute. We might change that to where they stick around and they're just always there and you can download them, or we might put in the logic to allow you to select what repository you want them to upload to and just automatically push them into either a test repository for testing or straight to production if you like to live dangerously. And I'm working on the package internalizer piece right now. It's not done yet. Like the search button does nothing, but the goal here is to put in a search term like Google Chrome, for example, and click search, and that does an OData query out to the community repository and returns all the packages that come from that search term. So if you search for Google Chrome, you're going to get the Google Chrome package, but there's a couple of other things in there in those search results as well. So all of those packages, their names and their versions will show up in this table once I have everything linked up right. And then the action button here is going to be internalize. And what that's going to go out and do is internalize those packages from the community repository and show them here and potentially push them out to your internal repositories. But this is currently work in progress. And if I click this search button, it's probably going to break because it's not going to do anything. Yeah. Because I don't have it wired up. All right. What are some other fun things that I've been working on? Yeah, bro.
Yeah, so it's important to mention, and somebody dropped this in the chat. What we've shown so far really helps in organizational context. The next couple you're going to show us actually have some uses in open source, or at least this next one.
I guess just got to tweak my UAC settings here for a second. Did that actually work? I didn't see that actually work.
There it goes.
Yeah, there it goes. I just wanted to make sure that it worked. All right. So I've got a package inside of this folder called UI. So if I say Choco install UI -y, it's in this folder, and I'm going to pass some params to it. I'm going to say show UI.
So frame the reference before you hit enter.
So what this does is it allows you via a friendly interface pass package parameters into your packages. So no longer do you have to have --params equals /name equals whatever space /title equals whatever, and then this checkbox would technically be a switch. So it would be similar to /show UI.
So you could still do that though, right?
You could.
You're giving somebody an option to do something a little different so that they could actually get more of a visual sense to fill things out.
Absolutely could. You could. If they're not super familiar with package parameters, they're not comfortable entering package parameters, you could just say, we'll just pass this. And then you could fill in senior math. I can't type. Scientist. And then say is awesome and hit OK.
Oh, that's nice.
That's grabbed all of those arguments, and I'm just putting them back out to standard output at this point. But if I needed to consume those and do anything with those arguments, they're all in there. The same way that we've handled package parameters being a hash table when you use the get package parameters commandlet inside of your Chocolatey packages. This behaves the same way in that it just creates a hash table of all the parameters passed from that GUI back to the caller.
No, that's really cool. And for folks at home, this is what was the date we were looking at? Something for this was like February of this year when we first kind of thought of this. February or March, and we actually had our company kickoff, and we kept it a secret right up until the point we showed everybody else at the company, and it was everybody was super excited about it, right? And we probably would have gotten a little further with this particular thing had we not needed to pivot when, of course, COVID hit and everything went to wherever. But the really interesting thing about package parameter UI or whatever we end up, whatever this gets to end up being called, is that it really gives people the ability to run an install for something that they may not be familiar with the package parameters, and it could pop a UI for them, and they could fill that out instead because it makes it much more discoverable. But it's something you add that show UI, so you're actually interrupting the automation on purpose.
Yeah. If you just pass this package without anything, it's not going to output anything. It's just going to install. The real meat and potatoes of what this package does is passing show UI so that that executable runs and you get your package parameters, and you're able to come in here and fill this out and get that nice hash table. And again, if I don't check this, that value will come back as false.
And we're actually looking at doing this for the reason of, say, our central management packages have a lot of things that you can pass to them. And sometimes people don't catch all of those. And so we're trying to make it a little bit easier for them when they're trying to install those packages. And that does pop in.
Yeah, I'm popping in just to say, so I'm on the demos a lot. We talk to customers almost every day, and I have to say this is one of the things where, give you a peek behind the curtain, so to speak. Package parameters with show UI is one of those things where originally when we brought it up, the concept around engineering was a little bit, okay, well, automation is a thing. We want to keep the pipelines going, so why would we interrupt the pipelines? But the reality is folks asked for it, right? So when our customers engage with us, when our community engages with us, that's what we do. Is we end up, you never want to have your process driven by only like the silo that you live in, right? So we very much heard people saying again and again, and customers saying, hey, I actually want a way to interrupt this process, right? I want a way to get some feedback at this point. So that's kind of where this was born out of. So I think that's really cool. I'm proud of that.
Yeah. And the discoverability, I think, is great too. Just being able to, I'm coming into this for the first time. I may not be as familiar with something as somebody else. And so if I can call show UI and it pops up something for me, that would be.
You can just fill that out with the information you care about. Maybe you didn't know that there was a way to disable the desktop icon for a particular package because you didn't know that no desktop icon was a package parameter that you could pass. But if you do show a UI and there's a checkbox that says don't add the desktop shortcut, you can just click that box and pass that back to your package.
And a really good way of taking this a little bit further is we could even say, show me what those parameters are. How are they going to get passed? How should I pass them to the package? So as I put them in, then I can get a little script that would show me how I could pass those to the actual package install for my automation later.
Yeah, absolutely. Really cool. Absolutely. So the UI thing is pretty interesting.
Lots of good uses for that one.
Yeah, especially with your more complex packages. I mean, we've got some pretty complex packages of just Chocolatey itself. I mean, if we look at our central management product, there's ways to change the database connection string, and how do you want to build that connection string. There's several different flavors of ways that you can pass that. There's different options for the service, whether you want to use your own domain account to run the service under or not, etc. There's a connection string property for that package as well, and the same thing for the web package. So the installation of central management is a rather complex installation, and this would make it much, much, much simpler for people to get that off the ground, by providing them just a nice, friendly way to fill that information in and then pass it back so that we know it's right because it's coming from Show UI.
Yeah, I think further to that, Stevie, one of the things that I see with it is we give users can pass the default parameter value or pass the parameter values via command line. And if they don't pass those values, then it gives you some default parameter values that you can pick as well in that process to say, hey, you didn't define this. Here's a couple of suggestions, and pick one of these, or put in your own.
Yep, absolutely.
And another peek behind the curtains is a future thought. So the manifest file, the Chocolatey new spec file, right? That new spec. One of the things that we've been looking at doing and enhancing that is actually give you a section specifically for package parameters, which will really allow us to have something that could automatically pop this if somebody did Show UI without having to build something separate for each package, as you would do now. So just things that we think of, and as we think of how do we make this more approachable, more easy for folks that are trying to get to that discoverability.
Yep. It's super awesome. All right. Are we ready for the piece de resistance?
I think we're ready to look at the next thing, which I think is, I could actually frame this a little bit.
Go for it.
There's been a longstanding question of Chocolatey dog foods itself, right? So you install Chocolatey by running PowerShell to get something installed. To install Chocolatey, you're actually installing a new a Chocolatey package, right? Some people would say Nupkeg, and that's Nupkeg, new package. We don't need to get into that discussion, but we build a PowerShell script that would take that new package and just unzip it and run the script in there to install Chocolatey. And what we've had folks ask is there, when I'm trying to do something like, one of the questions that came up is there's these other tools out there that can install things, but typically they're limited to installers, like the traditional installers. And so we've been kind of considering this for a while, and so we've been thinking about it, and it prompted the discussion because one of the things I wanted to do was be able to still kind of have that same flow, right? We still build a Chocolatey package, but be able to have it contained in something else to actually help go through that process. And so go ahead, Stevie.
So now, wouldn't it be nice if you could just do that? And install Chocolatey. And now if we look in programs and features and we click refresh, Chocolatey shows up in programs and features. So now all those different automation tools that you're running that are strictly based on installers and don't have the capability to run a PowerShell script to install from PowerShell, you can just install Chocolatey via MSI.
So some of the comments are coming in for this. They're just I like it. I like it. So this is probably one of the more interesting features for folks. It really helped get this. So
it's another funny one because it's sort of like, hey, yo dog, I heard you liked installers, so I put an installer in your installer. But the nice thing about it is it enables so many more platforms, right? The big question we always had was from the SCCM folks too, right? Where they're like, hey, a lot of their traditional installation mechanisms are automated with an MSI. So, and other platforms also, other package management systems that require MSIs, not going to point to any ones in particular, but you know what I mean? Like, it's just, it enables the integration to more platforms and more possibilities. So very cool.
So David King asked an interesting question. Could you add the license file to the MSI? So it's a very, I like the question. And so what I see is the natural, is dichotomy the right word? I see that the natural progression of this is Chocolatey is open source. So that should answer David's question that just came in. There are commercial parts to it. And so the Chocolatey itself is open source. The Chocolatey CLI, the Chocolatey GUI, and some other aspects are open source. The natural progression is I really like, say I'm a commercial customer and I want to get the Chocolatey installed. I want to get the extension, the license extension installed. I want to get the license installed, and I want to get the Chocolatey agent installed. And maybe I have some options to skip some of those, right? Wouldn't it be great if we could put all of that into an MSI that we could deliver? And the answer is absolutely yes. And if we take that progression in as well, what if I'm setting up central management on a system and I want to say, okay, here's everything. This is just kind of laying the groundwork for us to be able to do some of that. And that's really exciting.
Yeah, because you could even take it to the point where, sorry, Stevie.
Go for it.
One of the things that I think of the most is with QDE, you have that client setup script, and often folks are saying, okay, well, I have to go there, I have to open the console, I have to run something, I have to use another RMM tool to pull that in. Wouldn't it be nice if you could just actually take that Chocolatey install bundle of all the scripting you need to get it up and running and checking into central management and checking into central management deployments even, and just roll that into your Chocolatey install right there. Then you got an MSI you can drop on any of your clients and run, invoke command style or PS exec style, however you like, or any RMM tool, and then you're ready to go, Bob's your uncle.
We've thought about that, and this UI is horrible.
Now we're really getting into the rough
edges. Oh man, I didn't know you were going to show this off.
You mentioned QDE. I've got the answer for that. I'm working on it. This UI needs a lot of help, but yeah, it's way easier for you to even the server is white in this. It's not black anymore, but put in your QDE server FQDN and click install, and this goes out and it sets up the client.
I like the checkboxes for using a self-signed cert or internet enabling. So that'll automatically turn on all the SSL cert stuff that we have going on in the background.
Yeah.
Nice.
So if you're using a third-party cert, you don't. There's an additional script that you run in the QDE context when you're setting up a client that inherently trusts that self-signed certificate on the client that you're installing Chocolatey to. In the case of a third-party cert from like GoDaddy or DigiCert or Let's Encrypt or your own internal ADCA, that's not necessary because those trusted root providers are already in the Windows certificate store. It's already trusted. You don't have to do that particular aspect anymore. So if you're not using a third-party cert, you would check this box. But if you're using a third-party cert from, again, GoDaddy, DigiCert, an internal CA, Let's Encrypt, you don't have to check that box. And similarly, if you're going to use central management over the open internet where you don't have to have a connection back to your corporate network to be able to deploy software or report Chocolatey packages that are installed on that client, you check this box and it pops up the internet enabled parameters, allowing you to provide the credentials for your Nexus repository and the additional client and service salts that are required into the Chocolatey configuration.
Oh, nice. I like this part because this is cool. So I'm assuming that the final product will probably have somewhere where you can put in your thumbprint for your certificate, their third-party cert you bought too. Because I think, that just basically bundles everything into
it's not on the client side. That's not needed.
Oh
It-
yeah, you're right, because it's already trusted. Oh, that's super cool.
Yeah, if you are installing QDE, which is something else I'm working on.
Mhm.
Um,
Mhm.
then yes, you could provide either the subject or the thumbprint of your certificate and pass that in, so that you don't have to run any PowerShell if you don't want to.
Awesome. And then you can just populate this information from that
Yeah.
transcript.log that you get when your QD initial setup runs, and you have all this information there. You can just drop it into there. Very cool.
Yeah. Yeah. Yep. Obviously, that's not a QDE instance, so I'm not going to be able to actually run that. But
It's
yeah,
still very cool nonetheless. Yeah, thank you. That's awesome.
All the goods that I have ready to show off. There's other things that live in that project folder that might be fun, but
While we're looking at, let's take a look in there. One of the really interesting stories here is kind of how Stevie became the mad scientist. Is Stephen came on, super interested, really excited to come work for us. Was it, wow, almost 2 years ago?
almost
Has it really been almost 2 years ago? Wow.
almost 2 years. It's crazy.
And every once in a while, we'd be in an engineering stand-up or something, and somebody would say, it'd be kind of cool to do this. And then I'd start getting these texts on the weekend of I win. And then a little video would come up, and it was like, chocolate, it looks like Steven just did it and made this work. And so even this weekend, I was getting some texts on some stuff. We found that if you don't want to make Steven's wife mad at you, you don't say something on Friday afternoon like, hey, Steven, it would be really cool if we could get this little thing, because
so I'll raise my hand
Sunday
there
afternoon,
say,
you'll get a little note and say, here it is.
Mhm. I'm the biggest culprit of this, so I'll take full responsibility. So as soon as I came on, I started planting those seeds. So if you want something done, you just have to plant the seed with Stevie, and it's always just you just need to give the hint of an idea, and then he'll go and run off with it, and literally he'll have something running by the next couple of days, if that. Usually the same evening. So I'm definitely guilty of this. Stevie knows that every time I say I have an idea, he's like, "Oh, this is going to be work for me." So I apologize, Stevie, and I apologize especially to Stevie's wife, because I'm sure I'm in trouble there. But yeah, he's definitely good at the new stuff. Yeah.
I live for it. I eat, sleep, and breathe this stuff. It's super fun.
Core Bob is asking if we can get a deal to mention what time of night, what o'clock.
Yeah, we all know, people play this game where with myself and Stevie, where they're like, is he still up, or is he gotten up early? Because we don't know what time it still is. So that's often a game we like to play in the PowerShell community. But for sure, it's been a lot of crazy nights. But folks, that's just because we're this passionate about it, right? I love where I am, I love the people I work with, and I love being here. So this is part of the fun. We enjoy it. That's why Stevie and I put so much time into this stuff, and all of us, because we're a family here, and that's what we do, and we dig it.
Let's take a look at Package Converter. This could be interesting. Yeah, let's definitely look at this one.
This one has a couple of rough edges around it, but it's super cool. So if I want to do a package, for example, where'd my button go?
Maybe it's a URL. Oh, there you go.
There it is. Oh, yeah. That is right. The package, you just give it a package name. So I'm going to do software installer in this case. So let's go to downloads, and let's do Notepad++, and let's say open. And then I'm going to say C converter, and I'm going to create that package location real quick. So, because I'm not sure if I have this actually turned on yet. And then we'll click generate. And then if we go in here, hopefully this still works. Oh, yeah. Did I delete something off a disk that this needs? Just thinking about this for a second, I think I deleted one of the files that this thing needs to actually do its work.
So just to talk through this a little bit, because I think this is part of that coming soon stuff that we're definitely it's a stay tuned feature for sure. So this is the big one, folks. I know we hear a lot about stuff for Intune specifically. So being able to take a Chocolatey package or an installer and bringing it in and either wrapping it in a new package or taking something from the community repository, bringing it in and having like an easy way to onboard those things into Intune Win applications that you can really easily put up into your Azure tenant in Intune and get up in company portal. That's what this is going to be eventually.
Yeah, that's going to do that. And then eventually, once we figure out the work that we need to do to make it happen, when you right click on a nupkeg, well, this VM doesn't have it on it, but there's another VM that has upload to Intune.
So if you right click that 7-zip exe, you see the option to create Chocolatey package and create Chocolatey package without GUI. It's just going to be another context menu in there, right?
Yeah.
Awesome.
Yep. Super cool.
Yeah, I saw this one working. This was really cool. Sort of taking a
deleted Intune Win
Chocolatey, taking a Chocolatey package and then turning it into a .Intune Win. Is it? If I get the name right.
Yeah.
Win32 app. Yep.
Yeah.
So, and then being able to push that on up to Intune and be able to deploy it is that's pretty cool. That's one of the things we hear a lot is folks are out there going back towards organizational use of Chocolatey. Folks out there might have other tools that they're using for deployment and endpoint management, and of course, Chocolatey just makes those things just that much better. So it's like putting a chocolatey on the cake, right? A little chocolatey icing on there. It makes it sweeter, makes it work a little better, brings quite a bit of things like testing and other things to it. And so being able to test your Chocolatey package, then wrap it up and deploy it through Intune gives you the ability to have confidence that what you've created is good, right? You've been able to test it, do some automated testing around that, and then you're able to push that up and push it out through Intune and not have to worry that you're testing by deploying into production, because nobody wants to be there.
You mean like putting a little bit of chocolate on that Intune strawberry? Is that what you mean, Rob?
Oh yeah, check that out. Yeah.
Yeah, just thought I'd change my background there, but yeah, definitely working with the different configuration management platforms is a big part of what we do, right? We're always trying to do the thing where we integrate more. So, that's always been our business model there. But yeah, I love it because it ends up with me talking to a lot of cool Puppet folks, Ansible folks, Chef folks, and the Intune and SCCM crowd too. Very cool.
Yeah. There's a question in the Twitch chat about Windows Store apps, AppX, anything to talk about. Do we have any guidance on that or any roadmap type stuff we want to disclose at this time about?
We definitely want to be able to manage Windows Store apps. That is I want to say on the roadmap. We'll be talking about roadmap tomorrow, so definitely come back tomorrow. MSIX, you can run MSIX installers through Chocolatey now. In fact, Windows Terminal and quite a few other packages are up there. We're wanting to get a little bit better native support in Chocolatey for being able to manage that through some of the methods that are already built in. So we are definitely looking to add that, which AppX, MSIX, pretty close technologies. MSIX is like the progression of AppX to something that is a little bit better and a little less constrained.
Yeah, I think further to that, I always take a look at it from the strategic perspective of we do a little bit of a wait and see approach on some of those stuff because there seems to be different schools of thought on where people are going with installers. So we always kind of see where the dust settles a little bit and try and hitch our horses to that pony or that stage. You know the analogy I'm referring to. Yeah.
I mean, the nice thing about Chocolatey and the fact that it uses PowerShell is that you can do just about anything with a Chocolatey package. You can do really bad things. You can do really fantastic things. And one of the things you'll see in Chocolatey, we have a lot of built-in things that really enable being able to manage third-party installers, things that don't have installers, and other things and scripts and other things you might want to run. And we look to see where the trends go to try to figure out what it is that we should bring back into Chocolatey Core, as I'm going to call it, the Chocolatey Core, to better give people an approach there. Because once it's in Core, it really allows for more compatibility as future versions go. It gives everybody a very consistent approach, and we like that consistency, that stabilization, and that I guess resiliency. Knowing that those features can be a little bit more supported by our team versus something that you're just kind of running with. Not to say that running with it is bad. It just gives you a little bit more, I don't know, comfort's the right word or what, but
yeah. Yeah, I tell people a lot, especially when I'm working with customers and they ask questions about building packages and things. And I do tell them that under the hood, it's just PowerShell. So really it's the sky is the limit in terms of what you can do inside of a Chocolatey package. But you have to be cognizant of that and a little bit careful with that too.
Yeah, makes a lot of sense. The world is your oyster sort of thing when it comes to PowerShell, but with that, with great power comes great responsibility. And this is a funny one, actually. I will mention real quick because I think we get this a bunch where it's like, oh, we'll have security teams that review Chocolatey sometimes. It is the client application that lives on the endpoints, and people are like, oh, it can do this or it can do that. It's like, well, yeah, I mean, anything where you're an administrator that can do PowerShell things, you can do with Chocolatey. So really, if somebody has got admin level access to your stuff, then you've got other things to worry about. So we try and play it safe in terms of that. We generally have a client app that lives on the individual system, but of course your capabilities are endless, right? They're limited only by your imagination, as Stevie likes to say. Yeah, awesome. Well, thanks so much, guys. Thanks, Rob, and thanks, Stevie, for all that cool behind the curtains peek and all those interesting features coming out. And you know what? We had a question in there about what makes it out of the lab, and that's a great question. I feel like a lot of that is up to you. We're going to release a survey link in a second and you can vote on it. So this is exactly where you make your voice heard, right? In these cases is we definitely listen to what you have to say and we appreciate your input, and you show up every day for us here and we appreciate it. So this is where, you have the chance to guide the development here a little bit too. So, okay, throwing up the links here as well. These are the usual ones. We've talked through these many days, but generally, of course, you can check out the feature videos that are up there at cf0.co/c4b videos. The QDE v2 setup is up there at QDE-videos. And of course, Chocolatey, the organization, if you want to set it up in a distributed environment as well. I will mention here that day 12 is the last day tomorrow. So please join us for that one. That's going to be a big one. That's going to have the whole team here. So everybody will be here from Chocolatey that can make it, and they'll be answering questions. So any of the stuff that you had from other days, we've tried to grab it and capture it and put it up on the questions page. But anything you can think of today or other days that from any of the sessions that you've had questions on, please feel free to put it in the Q&A session questions page. So that's ch0.co/day12 questions. And that's going to be a big one because hopefully we'll be able to address a lot of the stuff that people feel like may have been missed on other days. But I've really enjoyed today, so I think it's fun. This is my favorite stuff, is to be able to engage with you guys. So I think that's where we get the most utility out of it. So tomorrow's going to be another fun session. So show up, be in the chat, and we'll have fun. So with that, I will put up the schedule. So if you missed the other days, no worries. You can always join up and watch the stream on Twitch and YouTube as well. There's a couple of webinar days in there that, of course, you'll have to sign up and register to get access to, but they're available for you as well after the fact. And you can go back, watch any of these, and then join us tomorrow. You see the schedule here. We just got Wednesday, which is the day 12 Q&A panel discussion and wrap. We'll talk a little bit about roadmap there as well. So stay tuned for that, because I know roadmap questions have come up a bit too, for sure. So without further ado, I think it's time to throw the survey form up here. What do you guys think? Stevie, Rob, should I put that in the chat? You guys have earned it. Okay, awesome. Cool. Let's see if that link shows up there. Cool. So it looks like it went through. Awesome. Well, thank you all for joining us today. I mean, it's been an awesome ride for the last 11 days and one more day to go. So if you've been around this long, stick around one more day and join us there. But today's been especially special for me to kind of finally see what Stevie's been working on. He does a lot of this stuff, and our dev team, you know, our engineering team, Joel, Gary, everybody on that side works so hard, and I feel like they don't get enough of the credit they deserve and the noise in the public, because a lot of their stuff is behind the curtain there. So I really enjoy these types of days to give those folks a little bit of a spotlight, and we'll try and do that a little bit more tomorrow. So thank you so much for your time and showing up every day, and continue to join us tomorrow. And thanks for being a part of this. Hope you have a good evening and afternoon or morning, and stay safe and healthy. And with that, I bid you adieu. Rob, Stevie.
Thank you. That's exciting.
Awesome. Guys.
Have a good one.